Welcome back to another deep dive. Today, we're digging into a market research report, and this one really caught my eye. It's about the global open innovation software market.
Right.
Our goal here is pretty simple: cut through all the numbers, find the key insights, and really help you understand how this whole area is changing innovation, well, everywhere.
And maybe we should just clarify what open innovation software actually is. Essentially, we're talking about the tools, the platforms that let companies look outside their own four walls for ideas.
Okay.
Yeah, it helps them connect with, external partners, maybe customers, academics, freelancers, build these collaborative ecosystems.
So moving beyond just their internal R&D teams.
Exactly. It's about gathering outside ideas,
Yeah.
co-developing things together, a much more open approach than, say, 10, 20 years ago.
And the growth numbers here are, well, they're pretty staggering.
Yeah.
The report kicks off globally saying the market was around, what, $480.66 million back in 2021?
Uh-huh. Just under $500 million.
But it's projected to absolutely explode. They're forecasting $1.63 billion by 2033. That's a compound annual growth rate, a CAGR of 10.73%.
That's very robust growth year over year.
It really is. So let's unpack that. What's really driving this kind of dramatic rise? Is it just companies wanting to be more innovative, or is there something deeper?
I think it's definitely deeper. It's not just about wanting to innovate. It's increasingly seen as a necessity for survival and growth. What's fascinating here, like you said, is how companies across basically all sectors are making this shift.
Right.
They're realizing that the old model, relying only on internal genius, well, it's often too slow or too narrow for today's problems. This software becomes, almost a strategic tool.
Okay, so less a nice to have and more a need to have.
Precisely. Think about crowdsourcing complex R&D solutions or co-creating products directly with your users. It's a fundamental rethink of how you operate, how you find solutions, how you grow, much more agile, much more connected.
That makes a lot of sense. Tapping into that sort of global brain trust, as it were. Okay, let's just quickly reiterate those global figures because they really set the stage. About $480 million in 2021.
Yep.
Jumping to a projected $722.6 million by 2025. That's already a big leap in just a few years.
A significant jump, yeah.
And then accelerating again to that $1.63 billion by 2033. It feels like more than just growth. It feels like a real transformation in how innovation gets done at scale.
It absolutely is. It's a new paradigm. You might have a very traditional company, maybe in manufacturing, suddenly able to pose a design challenge to engineers worldwide via one of these platforms.
Right, getting ideas they'd never have internally.
Exactly. Or a software firm using it to get instant user feedback looped right back into the development cycle. Co-creating features almost in real time, it proves that great ideas can come from anywhere, and these tools help harness them.
Okay, so that's the big picture. Now let's zoom in a bit. Where is this growth actually concentrated? The report points to North America as the dominant market.
Yes, definitely leading in terms of overall market size.
The figures show North America at $186.02 million back in 2021. That's projected to hit nearly $275 million by 2025, and then pushing past $600 million, $600.99 million by 2033. Still a very strong TAGR there, 10.27%.
Solid growth.
And within that, no surprise, the U.S. is the clear leader, right?
Yeah.
Making up the lion's share, $152.72 million in 2021, forecast to reach almost $487 million by 2033.
Yeah, the U.S. market is huge. But what's interesting about North America, if you dig just a little deeper, is the consistency across the region.
Okay.
So Canada, for example, actually has a slightly higher CAGR predicted at 11.06%, growing from about $19 million to nearly $67 million.
Interesting.
And Mexico also shows really healthy growth at 10.46% AGR. So yes, the U.S. dominates in sheer dollar value, but the rate of adoption is strong across the board. It's not just the tech giants, it's broader adoption.
Right, that's a good nuance. Okay, so North America is the big player. Let's cop across the Atlantic to Europe. How does it stack up? Europe registered just over $100 million in 2021.
$102.86 million, yeah.
And expected to reach nearly $330 million by 2033. The KGR is very similar to North America's, actually 10.26%.
Very solid, consistent growth there, too.
And looking at specific countries in Europe, Germany stands out, growing from about $20 million to $70 million, with a strong KGR near 11%.
Germany's always a strong industrial and tech player.
And the UK as well, about $13 million, up to $44 million, also a good CGR over 10.6%.
Yeah.
France is slightly lower, 9.73%, but still significant growth.
And beyond those big three, you see steady growth pretty much everywhere. Italy, Spain, their peers are around 10%, 10.5%. Even Northern Europe, Sweden, Denmark also showing similar rates, plus Switzerland, Luxembourg.
So it really suggests a broad-based adoption across many different European economies,
Wow.
not just concentrated in one or two spots.
Exactly. Perhaps driven by slightly different factors in North America, maybe more focus on cross-border EU collaboration or specific industrial strengths, but the trend is clearly there. Widespread recognition of its value.
Okay, now, this is where the report suggests things get really interesting. Let's shift to Asia Pacific.
Yes, APAC.
The report flags this region as having, and I quote, some of the most aggressive growth trends.
That definitely aligns with broader tech adoption trends we see in the region.
The numbers are pretty striking. Revenue climbing from $122 million in 2021
Already a decent base.
to a projected $458.91 million by 2033. And look at this, the highest regional CAGR of the lot, 11.68%.
Wow, okay. That's significantly faster than North America or Europe.
Definitely. And specific areas within APAC are driving this. China, a huge market, obviously growing from around $38 million to nearly $145 million with an 11.88% CAGR.
Makes sense.
But India is actually flagged as leading the region in terms of growth rate. The highest TGR, 12.66%, starting smaller, $15 million or so, but projected to hit over $64 million.
India's digital transformation is incredibly rapid, so that fits.
And then you've got Singapore, also over 12% CGR, and Southeast Asia as a whole block, even higher at 12.3% CGR. They're described as growth engines in their own right.
So connecting this to the bigger picture, why APAC? Why this explosive growth compared to other regions?
That's the question, right?
I think it's likely a combination of factors. You've got, as we mentioned, incredibly rapid digital transformation happening across many sectors.
Right.
There's also a huge number of emerging businesses, startups, all looking for ways to compete, often on a global scale right from the start. Open innovation tools offer a way to do that, maybe more quickly.
And perhaps less baggage, less tied to older internal R&D models, maybe.
That could certainly play a part. Less entrenched legacy systems might allow for, leapfrogging directly to these more modern networked approaches. It's about agility and speed.
It really paints a picture of a region aggressively adopting new ways to innovate.
Yeah, okay, let's widen the lens again to cover the rest of the globe just to show the reach. South America.
Yep, also showing strong growth.
An 11.04% CGR overall, going from about $30 million in 2021 to over $106 million by 2033. Brazil is the largest market there.
But interestingly, Argentina is projected to have a slightly higher growth rate, 11.62% CAGR.
Interesting regional dynamics there, too.
Than the Middle East, growing from around $22 million to $75 million by 2033. That's a 10.95% CAGR. And the UAE is highlighted with an impressive 11.64% CAGR.
A lot of focus on diversification and tech investment in the UAE, so that aligns.
And finally, Africa. Starting from a smaller base, about $18 million in 2021.
$17.78 million.
Yeah, but still growing consistently to over $61 million by 2033. A solid 10.32% CAGR, with Nigeria and South Africa mentioned as key contributors.
Okay, so when you look at all those regions together, South America, Middle East, Africa, even though the starting market sizes are smaller than, say, North America, they're all showing these robust, consistent, often double-digit growth rates. What that really tells us is this isn't just a phenomenon for developed economies or tech hubs.
It's truly global.
It really is. The need to collaborate, to tap into external knowledge, to speed up innovation, it seems to be a universal driver now, regardless of the region's economic scale. It's becoming a strategic necessity everywhere.
Okay, so stepping back from all the specific numbers, what does this all mean for you listening to this? What's the big takeaway?
I think the clearest takeaway is that this data just unequivocally shows a massive global shift towards embracing open innovation.
It's not a niche trend anymore.
Not at all. It's driven by really fundamental needs in today's business environment. The need for speed, the need for scale, and crucially, the need for diverse perspectives to solve complex problems.
So if you're in business or involved in innovation in any capacity, this isn't just some software category to watch. It's becoming a core part of how competitive organizations are going to operate.
Absolutely. This deep dive really shines a light on it. The future of how companies innovate is clearly becoming more collaborative, it's digital, and it's accelerating incredibly quickly.
It signals that fundamental rethinking we talked about earlier.
Exactly, moving away from those closed-off internal R&D silos towards a much more interconnected, agile approach, leveraging that whole ecosystem of ideas and talent out there. And the companies doing this well are seeing real results.
Faster time to market, more disruptive ideas.
Yeah, tangible benefits. Breaking down those traditional barriers really pays off.
So, to quickly recap, the open innovation software market is, well, it's booming everywhere. From the established giants like North America and Europe to the fast-growing hubs in Asia-Pacific and solid growth across South America, the Middle East, and Africa.
It's a strategic shift reshaping how companies create value.
Definitely. And that leads to a really interesting final thought.
Well, yeah, if you think about this widespread, rapid adoption,
Mm.
how might the very definition of a company itself change? Or even an innovation department?
Yeah.
Could we be heading towards a future where these collaborative networks, these external ecosystems, actually become more central to value creation than the traditional corporate structure?
A future where the boundaries are much more fluid.
Exactly. And if that's the case, what new opportunities does that create? But also, what new challenges might arise for individuals, for organizations? Something to really think about.
A very provocative question indeed. Something for
Yeah.
you all to mull over. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the global open innovation software market. We definitely encourage you to keep an eye on these trends. The future of innovation is happening right now. Have you ever wondered why some companies just seem to, well, consistently hit home runs with new stuff, new products, while others really struggle?
Yeah, it's a constant pressure, isn't it?
It is. And the pressure to innovate, that's not new, but how they're doing it, that seems to be changing fast, moving, beyond just their own R&D labs.
Definitely beyond their own four walls.
So today we're doing a deep dive into this fascinating world of the open innovation software market.
Mm-hmm.
Our mission really is to take the material you've shared, sort of cut through the noise, and get to the core insights. How are companies speeding up development, solving problems by, well, working together?
Tapping into that collective intelligence.
Exactly. Think of this as your shortcut to understanding this really dynamic sector.
And it matters right now because, well, companies are just constantly looking for smarter, faster, more collaborative ways to innovate. It's essential.
Right.
So this deep dive, it'll really unpack the key forces, shaping this whole transformation, how ideas come to life now.
Okay, let's get into it then. Looking through the sources, three big forces kind of jumped out immediately, really powering the growth here.
Yeah, they were quite clear.
First up, this increasing demand for collaborative innovation. It's fascinating how businesses now seem to really value crowdsourced ideas, co-creation.
It's a big shift.
Yeah, tapping into insights from outside experts, partners, sometimes even their own customers.
And the benefits are pretty clear. I mean, this approach, it leads to faster product development, definitely. Yeah. It can reduce those internal R&D costs, which is always appealing.
Right.
But it also significantly boosts creativity. You get fresh perspectives.
Wider net, basically.
Exactly. Casting a wider net for brilliance, it gives companies a real competitive advantage.
Makes sense. Yeah. Okay, second driver.
Yeah.
The rise of digital transformation initiatives. As companies push for more agile, more transparent ways of working, these tools become pretty essential, right?
Absolutely essential. I mean, these platforms, they need to support everything from, let's say, structured brainstorming, ideation, all the way to seamless collaboration with external partners. It has to fit into that digital transformation picture. It's becoming a core part of moving to that, more dynamic, digital-first operation.
Got it. And third, there's this growing sense of urgency, this need to accelerate time to market. Markets move so fast now.
Incredibly fast. And innovation speed is, well, it's critical.
So how does this software help with that specifically?
Well, so what here is that open innovation software, it connects businesses to these global talent pools.
Yeah.
Problem solvers everywhere.
Oh.
So that enables much faster solution development. You can find the right expertise quicker. It cuts down those development cycles.
Right.
And lets companies respond really fast to, shifting customer needs or what competitors are doing. It's about staying ahead of the curve, definitely.
Okay, so faster development, more creativity, tapping into digital transformation.
Yeah.
It sounds great, but it's never quite that simple, is it?
Really is.
Our material definitely highlighted some, well, speed bumps, challenges.
Yeah, some significant ones.
A major one mentioned is intellectual property,
Yeah.
IP protection. I mean, when you open things up to outsiders, it must get complicated with rights and confidentiality.
Oh, absolutely. That's often the first major concern companies raise, especially those, heavily invested in their own R&D.
Sure.
They might hesitate, understandably, to fully embrace open collaboration because of those risks. It's a real balancing act between being open and protecting your valuable assets.
Mm.
Requires careful handling.
Yeah, I can see that.
And
And then there's the human side, cultural resistance. Some organizations, they just have this deep-seated mindset, right, favoring internal
the
development.
not invented here syndrome, it's real.
Exactly. Teams can be, well, hesitant maybe to rely on outsiders or even just share their challenges openly.
Yeah, and unless you have strong leadership really pushing for this shift and, good change management,
Mm,
these attitudes can seriously block how effective these platforms can be. It proves it's not just about the tech, right? It's about the people, the
Yeah.
culture.
that's a great point. Okay, and lastly, a more technical challenge, integration with legacy systems. Lots of big companies still use older tools for project management data.
Oh, yeah. That's a classic headache.
So trying to connect these new modern innovation platforms with those older systems, that must be tricky.
It can be really cumbersome. And you risk creating data silos, where information doesn't flow properly,
Right.
which ultimately limits the ROI, the return you get from the new software. It's that friction point you often see when adopting new digital tools into an older infrastructure.
Okay, so we have the drivers, the restraints. What about the future? Where is this all heading? The material pointed to some really interesting trends. This is where it gets exciting.
Yeah, some cool stuff emerging.
First, the big one, artificial intelligence and machine learning, AI. How's that being used here?
Well, AI is doing more than just filtering ideas now. It's getting much smarter.
How so?
It's being used to analyze and evaluate incoming ideas based on historical success data, market trends. These tools can help identify the high potential concepts much faster and maybe more accurately than humans wading through thousands of suggestions. It makes the whole thing more scalable, more efficient.
Like an AI co-pilot for innovation.
Exactly. That's a good way to put it.
Interesting. Okay, second trend. We're seeing these innovation ecosystems expanding, like way beyond just companies.
Yeah, that's a really significant shift. We're seeing government agencies, universities, even nonprofits starting to adopt these platforms
For what kinds of things?
to solve really big real-world problems. Think public health challenges, climate initiatives, city planning, using crowd participation.
Wow.
This broader adoption, it kind of signals a future where collaboration across different sectors becomes, well, maybe the norm for tackling those really grand challenges together.
That's powerful. Okay, and finally, something that feels a bit different, gamification, making innovation more engaging.
Absolutely. It sounds maybe a bit fluffy, but it works.
And what kind of features?
Things like leaderboards showing who's contributing the most, badges for achieving certain things, maybe points or reward systems.
Yeah.
They're being built into these platforms to encourage people to participate and, crucially, to keep participating. It turns innovation into more of a, community thing, an interactive experience.
Making it fun almost.
Making it more motivating, yeah. Driving that continuous engagement.
Okay, so let's try and wrap this up. To sum it all up, the open innovation software market,
Mhm.
it's really being shaped by this powerful mix, isn't it? Collaboration needs, cutting-edge tech like AI, and this fundamental business transformation.
Yeah, and if you connect it to the bigger picture, as companies everywhere are trying to innovate faster, smarter, these platforms are really becoming a cornerstone of modern strategy.
Right.
They represent a pretty fundamental shift in how knowledge, how creativity is sourced and used globally. It's not just internal anymore.
So for you, the listener, really getting your head around these dynamics,
Yeah.
it gives you a powerful lens, right, to view future business strategies, where tech is going.
Definitely. And it raises a really interesting question to think about for you personally. Considering this constant tension, this push-pull between the benefits of opening up and the challenges like IP and culture. What do you think the next big breakthrough will be? What will help even more organizations get past those hurdles and really embrace this open future?
That's a great question to ponder. Okay, that's it for this deep dive. We hope you feel more informed and ready to explore the really exciting potential of open innovation.